What is up, everyone? Welcome to HCP Homie Connect Podcast, episode 31. I got my boy C's in the house, otherwise known as HCN, and you've got me, your host, Lefty, or Sergio, as you want to call me by my government name. Episode 31. C's, how's it going, homie?
It's been going good, man. Chilling here on a Sunday night, man. Just same old, man. Taking care of the family, relaxing, doing some yard work, eating good. My wife made some camarones,
Oh,
ceviche de camarón and cóctel de camarón. So yeah,
okay,
eating
okay,
good.
okay.
The weather's getting good up here in Palmdale. It's
Yeah.
today was like 75 ish, 80
Mm,
ish. So it
wow.
wasn't too hot, but it wasn't too cold. So it was cool. It was perfect. Wish the weather stayed
Okay.
like this like for a long ass time, but it's gonna get hot for sure. So, but yeah, man, just chilling, taking care of the family, and watching sports whenever I can. Today, right now, I just finished watching the Mexico game. Mexico soccer team won. So yeah,
Concacaf.
yeah, the Concacaf, and watching a little bit of the what is it the in the college basketball
Oh,
tournament,
March Madness. Yeah, yeah,
March
yeah.
Madness. Yeah, I'm watching a little bit. I find it not in. I'm not into it as I used to be. I guess probably because I'm older and I'm like, I don't give a fuck about this goddamn college. He's like, yeah, whatever. But yeah, just every if it's on, like I'll leave it on, on the
In the
background and just
background. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
and then and that's it, man. Just watching that, keeping up a little bit with Dodgers, for sure, keeping up with the Lakers. But yeah, man, just chilling. How about you, man? How about you? How are you doing today?
I'm good, dude.
Good.
Same old, same like you, dude. Sunday, had to focus on yard work, pretty much. So, as you know, my daughter is in softball. She's on a travel team. So we had a tournament yesterday. It was more like a round robin, so it was only one day, but it was a long ass day.
Yeah.
As we talked about off air, right? I fell asleep the minute I got home. I was done. Um, but that means that today I had to knock out a bunch of things that I've been lacking since even last week or last
Mhm.
weekend. Last weekend we were supposed to have a tournament as well. I know a lot of the rain that you guys had prior to those 2
Yeah.
weeks actually made its way over that last weekend, and then rained out our tournament at the very last minute. So like we were literally about to drive out of the driveway at like 6 in the morning when I got the text like, "Hey, tournament's canceled." I was like, "Ah, shit!" My daughter's all ready to go, finally pumped up in her uniform, and just
Mm.
unfortunately, like they called it. So we decided, hey, let's leave to LA the same day.
Yeah.
And it just we were thinking about trying to go to LA. We just didn't know when we were going to go to LA, so we kind of targeted that weekend
Mhm.
because I don't know when I'm gonna go back after this this previous weekend that we went. Like I just don't know where the time is that we're gonna be able to go
Mhm.
to LA just with so many tournaments and just so much to do. So that was crazy. And then like I said, yard work, like you said, same thing. I ate really really good today. My wife made some like Korean beef bowl or bulgogi bowl or whatever
Oh,
you
okay.
want to call
Okay.
it. Uh, Amazing. I love when she makes it. Oh man,
Yeah.
it's so good. It's one of those where it's like, oh, it's so good, and then she kind of only makes enough for one bowl for everybody, and I'm like, oh, come
Oh.
on, man, I want doubles. But no, I know I shouldn't be eating doubles, but yeah, it was really good, especially because I was outside busting my ass, and she
Yeah.
brings that bowl, and it's kind of like it kind of sucks though because I don't know if it happens to you, but like I don't know when you're like in the midst of being outside and you're hot and you're sweaty or whatever, and it's like you don't want to stop and then they bring you the food and you're like, oh shit, I gotta eat it, and so then you eat it
Oh
and then you're all
no.
sluggish.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
I'm like, I'm all sluggish. So that's why I was trying to hurry up before we so we could record, and then I got a text that I had to drop something off at work. I was like, ah shit.
Oh shit. Okay.
So I had to go drop it off. But other than that, it was good. I mean, same weather up here is warm now. We were like 87 degrees yesterday. I think that's what we were more tired because it was a warm day. And
Hmm.
then I think today was like 83 degrees. I know, so like I think tomorrow and the next couple of days is supposed to be like in the mid 90s, and then maybe it drops down to like low 80s again. But yeah, we're starting to see that heat pick
Mm,
up,
okay.
man.
Okay.
So it's gonna, yeah, it's our nice weather is quickly fading.
Yeah. Yeah. For us.
Yeah, our nice weather is quickly fading, but that means pool time pretty soon.
Hey, that's
So,
dope.
yeah, man. But it's been like I said, sports wise, same. I just kind of been keeping tabs on F1.
Yeah.
F1 is back, baby. F1 is back, ladies and gentlemen. And then like you, kind of keeping tabs on March Madness. Again, like you said, I'm not into it as much as I used to be.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but in order to kind of keep myself entertained with it or follow it, I did create like 3 brackets.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah. So it's like one of my brackets is I'm like in the 87th percentile. So I'm still in it.
But are you like guessing? Like you just like, yeah, I'll take this one, take that one. This one sounds cool. This one sounds cool.
I did one where I did research,
Oh, okay, okay.
and then I did two where I just winged it.
Okay, okay.
The one that I researched is the one that I'm doing the worst in.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, yeah.
The other two that I winged, I'm doing pretty well actually.
Oh, okay,
Like
okay.
I'm in the like I said, I'm in the 87th percentile, so doing pretty good, I guess. But yeah, we'll see how it continues
Okay,
to go.
okay.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm mad though because at one point, this same one that I'm in the 87th percentile, I was much higher.
Yeah.
I swore that I took McNeese State. In fact, like I know I did because I opened up the app and I was like, oh shit, I chose McNeese State. And it
Yeah.
showed that I had it. And I actually went to show it to my coworker because she was like, did you see Clemson got upset? And I was like, by who? Like, this is how much I don't pay attention. And she was like, McNeese State. I was like, oh, that's going to bust so many brackets. Probably mine too. And then I opened my shit and I was like, oh, look, I chose McNeese State.
Oh
And
shit.
she was like, and I showed it to her. She was like, oh, shit. Like, but 3 hours later, I went back on and it said I had chose Clemson. I was like, wait, Kim, I'm not tripping. Like,
Shit.
didn't you see what I saw? And she's like, yeah, I saw what you saw. And I was like, oh, this is some bullshit.
What
Like,
website was it?
ESPN.
Oh shit! You think they go in and like
I mean,
change?
there's money on the line because
Yeah.
remember, like ESPN has a contest where like you can do up to 25 brackets, and depending on because at that point it said I had 100%. All my shit had hit.
Yeah.
And I had 100%, which is obviously the first round. It's early.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
still, I had 100%. And all of a sudden, I went down to like 97% because apparently it switched, and I had Clemson. I was like, what the fuck?
Oh shit.
I was like, what? I'm so mad that I didn't screenshot it.
Yeah.
So that I would have had it. But like, I showed it to someone else, and she was like, oh shit, you did choose McNeese State. And then like 2-3 hours later, I'm like, yo, Kim, it says I didn't choose McNeese State.
Yo, I wonder if you could find like some read it like chain like yo ESPN.com
Like,
changes my pick.
Picks.
Yeah. And I'm sure you'll
dude.
find other players like yo, I swear I took this player, I took this team, and they told me I like
Yeah.
oh dude, that's crazy.
I was like,
Oh
what
shit.
the fuck? So
You might be onto something.
Conspiracy.
Yeah.
I don't know, dude.
Ooh.
But that sucked, man. I mean, I wasn't expecting to win any money, but
Yeah, of course. But like
still.
yeah, still if somebody's changing that, man, that's some conspiracy shit right
Yeah,
there.
dude. And again, it wasn't one of the ones where I just winged it because I was like,
Yeah.
man, I chose Clemson in my researched one.
Yeah.
So in my
they were
winging it one, I'm going to choose McNeese State.
because they were the higher seed. Yeah,
Yeah.
of course. Yep. Damn, that'd be crazy. That'd be some
Yeah.
dope shit.
Man, that's crazy, dude. We gotta get Money Mike on this conspiracy.
Shit.
You gotta
That'd be
get
dope.
Money Mike on this. All right, so check it out, man. It's been a crazy couple of weeks in the NFL. Free agency started March 10th?
No, March 4th, 3rd, something like that. Was it?
Sure?
No.
I thought it was the 9th, no?
Okay, yeah.
I think it was the 9th, and like you can tamper, whatever. The point is, there's been a lot of movement in the NFL. Big names too.
Yep.
Including quarterbacks.
The 12th. The 12th. You're correct.
12. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's but let's start with our teams.
Yeah.
Let's see what the Niners and the Bills did in free agency, or just in terms of extensions. So I'll go ahead and start with my team
Go for it.
just because.
There was a lot for the Niners.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot for the Niners. But for the Buffalo Bills, we've got our quarterback for the future. Not that we didn't already.
Yeah.
We had locked him up for a while, but now our boy is the highest paid quarterback in the NFL at the moment, because you know how that always changes. But he is a $330 million man. He is locked up until 2030, with 250 million of that being guaranteed. So now I know that sounds like a lot of money, but being that the cap is going up pretty significantly every year, and from what I understand, the way it's structured, it's actually a pretty team-friendly deal. And Buffalo was actually really smart to sign him now.
Yeah.
And they be the ones to reset the market before any other team did it. And then we tried to, reset the market. Now we got to pay that much more.
Yep.
And so, being that we didn't have a lot of money in the salary cap, that actually helped us out a lot.
Yeah.
And so that allowed us to really make some key moves, like re-signing Greg Rousseau, our defensive end, re-signing our stud linebacker Terrell Bernard. We re-signed Khalil Shakir, one of Josh Allen's favorite targets. Then we actually went out in free agency and got Joey Bosa. We got a defensive tackle / outside linebacker from the Rams, Michael Hoyt. We got another defensive player, Ogunjobi, from, I think he was from Pittsburgh. We got Ogunjobi from Pittsburgh. We went and got Josh Palmer from the Chargers.
Yeah.
So we got a lot of talent. We re-signed a lot of our talent as well. We said goodbye to Von Miller. We said goodbye to our punter. And I think we kept our core. I think going to get Josh Palmer, I think it's going to be an underrated move. I think people don't give Josh Palmer enough credit, but I think he's going to help the Bills stretch their field. And then if I'm not mistaken, I think we still have Curtis Samuel on the books.
I think so, because I didn't hear nothing about, he got released or nothing like that.
Yeah, and I think people forget that he's pretty fast. And so from everything that was going on in free agency news and everything else, no worries.
Yeah, go for it. Close the door.
So everything that was going on in free agency and kind of the whole drama about receivers for the Bills and things like that. A lot of people mention like, hey, like, don't forget, like, you still have Curtis Samuel.
Yeah.
Curtis Samuel's is a burner. And apparently, I don't know how true it is, but apparently he was battling turf toe all season long.
Oh, okay.
So I could see how for a speed guy, that's a bit of a downer right there. And then other big name for us is Joey Bosa, another Charger. The Bills signed Joey Bosa. Again, it depends what Joey Bosa is going to do. Guy's got gobs of talent, but
it's a 1-year deal, 30-year-old. Yeah,
can't stay healthy. But you know what? If he stays healthy for 1 year and you could squeeze 2 more out of that after that, maybe you've got something. But I mean, for a 1-year deal, I don't think it's a bad thing. We also re-signed Damar Hamlin, which he's kind of polarizing. People either love him or hate him.
Yeah.
In terms of in Bills Nation, like I honestly I don't know what the hate is for. It's not his fault that he's in the position that he's in. We just haven't found anybody better, and he knows the system, and it's not like he's horrible, but I feel like people feel like he's getting
special treatment.
Right, but he's not, like, I mean, he earned it because the other guy that we brought in free agency last year got hurt during training camp. And then after training camp, he just never really, did anything special to kind of supersede Damar Hamlin. And then he requested to be traded.
Okay.
because he wasn't getting any playing time. So, I mean, is there better out there? I'm yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
He's far from elite, but is he serviceable? Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
he's played before. It's not like he hasn't played,
Okay. Okay.
So yeah, other than that, like that was pretty much it. The Bills aren't making too many big splashes. I think the biggest names were like Josh Palmer, Joey Bosa. I will say the big thing that came out of this free agency, aside from the Josh Allen
Mhm.
contract, was Larry Ogunjobi and Michael
Mhm.
Hoyt, two of the
Mm.
guys that we had just signed,
Mhm.
are
Mhm.
now technically suspended for 6 games due to PEDs.
Yep.
So I don't know if Buffalo knew that. I was trying to find information on that. So if you know,
They
let
said
us know
they
in the
didn't
comments.
know. Well, from what I heard, they didn't know that they were. No, I think Obenjobi, I think they knew, but the other guy, Hoyt, they said they didn't know.
Okay.
So I was like, oh, okay, that's weird.
I know that it kind of helps us because we are getting some money back
Oh, okay, okay.
because of that. So that
Mhm. Mhm.
I'm like, hey, like they're rotational pieces anyways.
Yeah.
So if we're getting money back and they're going to be a little bit fresher, after being gone for six weeks, like might work out in our
Okay.
favor.
Okay.
But but yeah, man. But that's it
So
for Buffalo Bills, man.
So my question to you is: after the Bills free agency, what grade would you give them? Or two questions, so you can answer them back to back. What grade would you give them after free agency? And then, now that free agency is over, in the NFL draft, who are you hearing that they're looking at, or what is the Bills fan base opinion as the position they should go after in the draft?
So I've heard a couple of things. One, that the Bills should consider trading up
Okay.
into the top 10, um, allegedly for a stud defensive lineman.
Okay.
And I think the guy that I saw was, I think, the guy from Penn State.
Oh, Abdul Carter?
Yeah.
Oh no, that's too
Yeah.
much. That's too expensive.
Um, so
Because
they
you
were
guys are
like,
way back in
we're back.
the
Yeah.
yeah.
Right. So they were saying you give up your first round pick this year and your first round pick next year because you're assuming that you're going to stay relevant. You're going to stay,
Yeah, you're
at the
gonna pick
top.
in the bottom. Yeah.
Yeah. So the thought there was if he's available around 7, 8, 9, 10, then you
Mm-hmm.
trade into it, which I'm not that big of a fan of because to me, it's like Penn State defensive linemen have not panned out for Buffalo.
Okay. Okay.
So I don't know if there's something there, but I don't really remember the last time like a stud defensive lineman came out of Penn State. I mean, you had Courtney Brown at one point.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
But this Abdul Carter, he is the real deal. I've seen him play, and I was like,
yeah,
damn, this motherfucker's gonna be a legit
yeah,
NFL player. But
yeah.
I don't think he gets out of the top four.
And that's the thing. I think
I
I
don't
think
think
so.
so.
That scenario is if he slips past that top four and he gets into that 7-10 range,
Yeah.
like Buffalo might consider doing that. But I think because we've plugged the majority of our holes with serviceable people,
Mm-hmm.
I think Buffalo's in a unique situation where they now get to actually choose best available.
Yeah.
And if you're going to go best available, honestly, I would be okay with trading out of the first round and
Okay.
just trade down until you get someone you really like.
Mm-hmm.
Just take the New England approach. When they were in their most successful,
Mm-hmm.
it was like if there was somebody that they didn't really care for in the first round, like, we'll trade out of it. We'll collect another second round pick or another third round pick.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh yeah, we'll collect another one for the next year. So I'd be okay with trading out of the first round if there's someone that's not there to get value somewhere else.
Okay.
Um, but for free agency, I would give my team. I'd give my team a B plus.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I would have liked to have seen them get a big time player like a Crosby or a fucking what's his name, Myles Garrett.
Okay.
None of that happened. I was
Mm-hmm.
super hopeful that they would get one of those guys, and none of that came to fruition.
I thought you guys were gonna get a right receiver. I was like, dude, these
I thought so too.
yeah.
You know, I thought so too, especially with Devontae getting released. I was like,
Yeah.
ooh, I wonder if the Bills are in that kind of,
Mm-hmm.
you
Mm-hmm.
know. I was like, man, Devontae Adams would be nice. Plus, he knows the Jets. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, like get back at him. I didn't want Cooper Kupp. People were associating the Bills with Cooper Kupp. I was not looking forward to that. I did not want to see Cooper
Well,
Kupp.
because we have Shakur,
Yeah, like
so it's
to
like the
me,
same. Yeah.
exactly. They're the same receiver. I didn't like that at all. I did like the Devontae Adams kind of thing.
Okay.
There were a couple other receivers that I was looking at, but nothing special. And then, like I said, the Bills went and got Josh Palmer, and I thought, you know what, that's serviceable.
Yeah.
That's serviceable. So it wasn't too bad. So I would give the Bills probably like a B plus. I think if they had got a receiver that was a little bit better than Josh Palmer, a little bit bigger name, then
Mm-hmm.
I would have for sure give them an A. But they re-signed a lot of our players, including, one that's gonna go underrated is Ty Johnson got re-signed.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I
think
saw that.
a lot of people don't realize how important Ty Johnson was, which also kind of tells you like there's a reason why we haven't extended James Cook.
Okay.
Because James Cook wants $15 million a year,
Mm-hmm.
and I think he did a lot to earn a bump in pay, but I don't know that the Bills think he's worth $15 million a year.
Yeah.
I mean that's up there with these high big time running backs.
Yeah.
But I mean, he put in the work. I don't know what to say, but I think it's because he's not as good of a pass blocker yet as someone like Ty Johnson, which is
Mm-hmm.
why Ty Johnson was in sometimes on second and third down.
Okay.
And you're like, dude, where's James Cook? And it's because sometimes they were just like, we need to be able to pass, and we want to make sure Josh is getting some time. And it looks like that's probably the hesitation where they're like, well, when you become that all around threat where you can even be a pass blocker,
Mm-hmm.
maybe then you get 15 a year. But
Yeah, for us.
so we'll see. But yeah, I'd say a B to a B plus for the Bills.
Okay. Okay.
Biggest one is re-signing your stud quarterback,
Of course.
for a long, long time, right? And
Mm-hmm.
once you secure that, you've always got a chance to the Super Bowl. So I think that was the biggest one, and that's why I would say a B to a B plus.
Okay.
But let's talk about your Niners now. Your Niners are looking a lot different. And actually, before we dive into that, I will ask you a question about how the move that the Bills did on extending Josh Allen, how's that going to play into the Niners after the Bills reset the market? And what does that mean for Brock Purdy's money?
Well, from what I've heard is that from what I've heard from like the writers that are in, close to the 49ers and, stuff online, is that the 49ers, the front office, they don't want to pay Brock Purdy. I'm going to say Trevor Lawrence money, because pretty much you see what Trevor Lawrence is, and they don't want to pay him that. And they shouldn't, because it's like Brock Purdy really hasn't done that much to get the 49ers over that hump,
Right.
So they're trying to save money. They're trying to, as the team should, trying to save money, not pay him top dollar, because let's be honest, it's just not smart to give Brock Purdy that money. I think the 49ers, they understand that, it's the quarterback market right now is going up, and it's going to continue to go up, and it's going to cost more next year to play Brock Purdy, but they know that Brock Purdy is not. I want to say Brock Purdy hasn't shown them enough to make them say yes, he deserves this money. Yes, he took him to the Super Bowl. Yes, he's taken them to the championship games. But of course, there's arguments to that. Like, you guys went not because of Brock Purdy, but because of your other talented team. Um, and then this past season, you saw that when that talented team was injured or not playing, it was on Brock Purdy's hands, and it wasn't that convincing. Like what I say from Brock Purdy that I want to see improve is that I want to see his passing improve, like his deep ball passing, because I've seen a lot of passes where Brock Purdy underthrows the ball, where the receiver could have caught it and run in for a touchdown, but no, Brock Purdy's underthrown ball. He has to stop. The receiver has to stop, come back, gets tackled at the 8-yard line, and then we have to run the ball, pass the ball, and then boom, it's fourth down. We kick a field goal. It's like that we could have had some more points right there. But no, and another thing that I read about is that the 49ers, they do want to see Brock Purdy. They want to see Brock Purdy settle down in Santa Clara, closer to the team, because from what I read is that he's owns a home in I think it's Iowa or the middle of the country somewhere. Yeah, so he's like a midtown mid country guy.
It's interesting because is
like
he from Arizona?
Something like, I think
He's from Arizona.
But I think his wife is out there somewhere in the middle of the country. So he's in that realm of like, oh, I want to be, at home with my wife in the middle of the country and, on a farm and all that shit. But I think the 49ers are like, no, look, if we're going to give you this much money, we need you over here, like committed, to our, side over here, regardless of, where you live at. Like, we want to know that you want to be over here, because I think the 49ers know that, like, you can't be here playing with the 49ers and then your heart is at home being homesick, Yeah. So I think that's what is going to lead the 49ers to, like, not give them that much money, not give them, Josh Allen money, because I mean, common sense will tell you that it's just not smart to give them that money, and they shouldn't. I honestly, if I'm the 49ers, I do not give them that money. I just tell them, nope, take what we're going to give you. And I'm kind of honestly, I'm kind of thinking that they're gonna let him play this final year on his contract, and then once he's done with his 4 years, they're gonna franchise tag him, and then hope that he shows us this coming season. Hope that he shows the 49ers that yes, he could lead a team in passing. His passing improves, his winning percentage improves, and then also that he shows that he can lead a team. After this season, his final season on his contract, if he gets franchise tag, then he gets franchise tag, and the 49ers could work out a long-term deal, which I hope they do. But like I said, common sense tells you that no, he does not deserve that Trevor Lawrence money.
Yeah, and not that Trevor Lawrence deserved it either.
Of course. And now you look at the Jaguars, you're like, yeah, now you're stuck with him because you got to pay him and shit,
Yeah, that was a bad move.
Yeah,
I know. I've said it for a while. I'm not. I don't dislike Brock Purdy. I just didn't think he was what everyone else hyped him up to be, in terms of
the real deal.
Yeah, right.
But honestly, that type of thing is like the whole white quarterback. Great white hope. Like, oh yes, this guy is the best. I see it, and of course he's my team's quarterback, and I go with it. But I know, like, it's Brock Purdy. Let's keep it real. It's Brock Purdy.
Right, exactly. And I mean, and it's like we said, right? I mean, there's like 5, 6 maybe tops that you can say elevate the team in the NFL. And those are truly what you mean by when you say an elite quarterback. And I think I never really understood that too much, other than who the future Hall of Famers are, and you're like, man, those are the ones that like always have that window open for you because they make up. You pay them so much, you have less money for other talent, but it really balances out because they carry the team. And it's one of those where it's like, well, fuck, if you get into this Trevor Lawrence situation where you pay this dude a lot of money just because that's the market, but he's not that guy,
Yeah,
then it's like, well, shit, like you're gonna hurt the team more because he can't carry
exactly.
the team.
Yeah.
And I think that's what my biggest gripe was, that right is like, if you can't differentiate him from Tua,
Mm-hmm.
like, then he's in the same tier.
Yeah.
And so that's why, to me, I was like, it wouldn't be a smart move for the Niners to make. So
No.
I find it interesting that they haven't made it. I know there's like a bit of a divide too, right? Because it feels like in Niner, in the gangbang nation or
Yep.
gangbang nation, there seems to be a divide where you've got the Brock Purdy fans,
Mm-hmm.
and then you've got like the Brock Purdy like realists, where
Exactly.
you're
Yeah.
still fans, but you're like, yeah, let's keep him, but I'm not willing to pay him what the market says the starting quarterback is worth.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Just because his contract is next doesn't mean he deserves to reset the market.
Yeah. Exactly. No. Like I said, uh, uh, keep it common sense. Common sense will tell you, no, he does not deserve that big ass contract. And I kind of I trust John Lynch because he was a NFL player. I'm pretty sure he knows who is a real deal quarterback and who is not a real deal quarterback. And so I trust John Lynch to understand that, to be like, no, this guy, he's good, but he ain't elite good. So let's pay him good money,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I mean, we'll see.
What about the rest of the Niner Nation?
Uh, you know,
That is a lot of changes there for the NFL, for the Niners.
oh yeah, I mean, the argument that I'll give for that is that it had to happen. You can't pay a lot of players that much money, because they do deserve that money that they receive from other teams. But the purge had to happen because
Yeah.
it was just they're getting older, and you can't pay that top dollar to older players. You're gonna run out of time and money, and in 2-3 years you're gonna be dead last because you're broke and you're paying all these players, all these older players, top dollars when they ain't doing nothing. So I mean, yeah, they did lose a lot. They traded Debo. The one that hurt for sure was Dre Greenlaw. The only thing that he was injured sucks that
Right.
he got injured in the Super Bowl because man, I think he was a difference in
Yeah.
that versus the Chiefs. Charvarius Ward went to the Colts.
Mhm.
Jalen Moore, he was a starter. He went to the Chiefs. Was it Moore? Yeah, Moore. No, Aaron Banks. Sorry, Aaron Banks went to the Packers. He was a starter. Jalen Moore
Yeah.
was a rotational backup. Talanoa Hufanga, safety, went to the Broncos. Broncos did good. And then Elijah Mitchell went to the Chiefs.
I
Javon
saw that.
Hargrave. So yeah, they lost a lot of good players. But I mean, the only thing I think that's good for the Niners is that you see that the 49ers are drafting good and they're picking their good players because you see that all these free agencies that left, I think they said that all these 49ers that left, they ended up making like 200 something $1 million in free agency
Mhm.
this year. So I
Yeah.
was like, okay, the 49ers know what they're doing. Like
Right.
they're drafting good, they're picking, free agency good. But again, you got to purge because you can't keep sustain that amount, paying that amount to players.
Yeah. Mhm.
So I trust that they are picking good players, and that I trust that they're gonna pick good players in this draft and maybe next year in free agency. The only bad side, the only and the top thing that does not help the 49ers in all this is that they didn't win a championship. It would have been better or great if they had a trophy in their trophy room. Like, yes, we paid all these great players top dollars, and now we have to get rid of them because they're getting old. But hey, guess what, guys? We got a trophy. You know,
Yeah.
the 49ers do not have a trophy. That's the downside of this. It's like you guys pick good players, you guys drafted good players, but it does you don't have nothing to show for. So that's
Yeah.
the bad part about it.
Yeah. Yeah. That it's gonna look like a whole different team in San Francisco.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. But like I said, I trust John Lynch. John Lynch is ex NFL player. He knows what he's doing. I trust that he's gonna get the team right. I think he's gonna have them competing in 3 years if they keep Brock Purdy, of course.
Yeah. Okay, so now let me ask you this: Are the Niners still top? Are they still the top dog in the NFC West?
I don't think so. Just to be honest, no. I think the Rams are the team to beat. With they of course they added Devontae Adams. I think the Rams' the strength right now with the Rams is their defense, their young defense.
Oof,
yeah,
defense is nice.
Yeah, their young defense that they just have young feet that they have motor for days. And when you have a young defense, like they'll run, all day and shit, And they're a year older now, so they more experience. I think last year or 2 years ago, the Rams drafted good on the defensive line.
Yeah.
So now they have like 3 good defensive linemen. So I was like, okay, these motherfuckers know what they're doing. So no, I think this is the Rams, the NFC East, and then it's of course the Cardinals. The Cardinals did all right in free agency. They're still there with Kyler Murray, but of course it all depends on Kyler Murray, of course.
Yeah.
And then the Seahawks, they went with Sam Darnold at quarterback. Sam, and then they got rid of DK.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's no DK there, and they got rid of Lockett.
Lockett, exactly. And I think their defense is still relatively young. So yeah, I mean, it's the Rams, and then it's anybody else after that. So I mean, the Niners can make the playoffs if they, if of course, if they stay healthy, because the Niners still got a good squad. They still got, of course, Christian McCaffrey. Ayuk should be back in from his ACL injury. They got Ricky Pearsall, second-year receiver. They still got Kittle. They still got Trent Williams on the offensive line. And then on defense, they still got Fred Warner. They still got Diamondor Lenore. And then their safeties are, they're young, but they're good, hard-hitting safeties. So yeah, I mean, they still can make it. Their defense is going to be banged up. I think some of the teams are going to run over them. But if they draft good, if they draft, a good, defensive line in the draft, I think we have a chance.
What are you looking for the Niners to draft?
Oh man,
with the draft.
Honestly, I was talking to one of my friends at work too about the 49ers. I'm like, my dream pick for the Niners is they drafting this the tight end from Penn State, Tyler Warren. Which he reminds me a lot of Brock Bowers. Like a lot of Brock Bowers was like, fuck it, just throw it to him. He's gonna get extra yards.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh my god, like you see Brock Bowers like with the Raiders this past season, is like, with a shitty ass quarterback, he still produced. I was like, dude, how could people like not see this in the draft, and like. So that's why I'm like, if I'm the Niners, like, please take Ty Warren, like, just to give us that extra weapon, like, boom, like, go, and do your shit. So I mean, for me personally, I hope it's Ty Warren, but I think it's gonna be. I wouldn't be. I wouldn't be mad if it's an offensive lineman or a defensive lineman. I prefer an offensive lineman just so we could, solidify that line. And what I heard is that this draft has a lot of defensive linemen and running backs. That this NFL draft is loaded with those positions. So I was like, okay. So I'm like, we could get a good, offensive lineman in the first round, and then a defensive lineman in the second round, and then after that, it's whatever they decide. So
running back.
Oh yeah, running back in the third round, I'm sure. Yep.
Running back in the third round sounds about right for the Niners.
But like I said, like I think they traded Jordan Mason.
No, you put Jordan. No,
Jordan Mason got traded to the Vikings. He was our second back after Christian McCaffrey got injured. So Jordan Mason played good. We traded him to the Vikings.
Did you put somebody on a second round tender?
It was Mason, Jordan Mason. But after that, after that they traded him. Yeah, he got traded.
Oh, I didn't know he got traded. Okay. So you got a second round for him?
No, we got I think a fourth round for him.
But you put a second round tender. How does that
I,
work?
I don't know. I guess whoever wanted to sign him is like, yo, if you guys want to sign him, you got to give us a second round. But I think they didn't trade him for a second round because I know we just have one pick in the second round. So I was like, I think it's a fourth round that we traded. I was like, all right, whatever. But like I said, like last year they drafted Isaac Orendo, who showed up, playing good, and I think
Right.
they said like fuck it, let's stick with Garendo, who's healthier,
Yeah.
and go with that. So and he'll play behind Christian McCaffrey. So I mean I'm sure they're gonna draft offensive or defensive lineman in the first round. But
Yeah.
again, like I said, my pick would be Ty Warren, tight end, Penn State. Fingers crossed. Yeah. But I
All
mean,
right.
it's give and take. I trust the
Yeah.
team. I'm sure they know what they're doing.
So so I agree with you in the sense that I think the Rams are the team to beat.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to tell you that I think the NFC West is still a toss up,
Yeah.
and it's only because like Stafford's coming back for another year. And I get it, but if Stafford goes down,
Yeah.
it's a wrap.
Mm-hmm.
Like I get you got Devontae, but if Stafford goes down, it's a wrap. I mean, like it
The fun,
just
yeah. The funny thing is like the backup quarterback is Jimmy G
yeah, I know,
Garoppolo.
yeah.
So if,
Garoppolo.
like you're right, if Stafford goes down, they're gonna plug in Garoppolo, veteran quarterback who should know what he's doing, but it's not Stafford, like you said.
No, it's not Stafford. It's a wrap.
Yeah.
And then whereas the Niners, all you have to do is don't fall off a cliff.
Yeah.
Don't fall off a cliff and hope that, something happens and the Rams stumble because of an injury, which is highly likely because Stafford is another year older,
Yep.
right? Like he's got to fall off at some point, and he's not going to be able to take the hits that he will take sometimes. So unless the Rams really shore up that offensive line, I don't know. It's like for sure the Rams are the favorite,
Mm-hmm.
but again, and like many teams, right? Like if their starting quarterback goes down, then it's a wrap. Like I mean, for the Bills, if
Yeah.
Josh Allen goes down, and it's an extended amount of time, the Bills are in trouble.
Yeah.
You
Of
know,
course.
I think we still have a decent backup, but it's like if he goes down for more than like I'd say 3 games, then I think the Bills are in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why I would say it's still open there.
Mm.
And on the subject of quarterbacks, a lot of quarterbacks moved around during
Mm-hmm.
free agency. So let's start with that. Actually, no, sorry. Before we jump to that, what would you give your team as far as a grade for free agency?
Grade. I would give him. I would give him a C, even like a C minus, because honestly, we didn't do much in free agency. I think the only good player we had was what is it? What's his name? This guy. The
Did you guys
receiver.
re-sign
Oh,
Juszczyk?
yes, we resigned Juszczyk. The weird part is that we resigned them, but we added money to our salary cap next year. So they're like, yeah, if you guys are losing all these players to save money, next year, why are you paying like a fullback, 33-year-old fullback that much money, So I
Yeah.
mean, for what I say, like for heart wise, like yeah, cool. Is Juszczyk, he's heart and soul of the team. Like people love him,
Right.
fans
He's
love
like,
him. So,
yeah, he's a locker
yeah,
room leader too, probably.
exactly. So I'm like, yeah, he's cool. His wife is cool. Is doing all this social media stuff.
Hmm.
She great pickup, but I don't know about paying him that much money. For that older player. And then they got Demarcus Robinson, receiver, from he used to play for the Rams. So I'm like, all right, that's good.
Oh
But of
yeah,
course, they lost a shitload of players.
yeah,
I give them a C because, like I said, you have to go through that purge. You have to. You can't pay all those players that much money. It's smart that they did it now, and then that's it. Just hope for the best. And that's it. That's why it's a C, C minus, I would say. But I mean, they didn't do much in free agency. They couldn't. You could tell they're trying to save money to spend money. In these coming seasons coming up. So you had to do it.
You did sign Mac Jones.
Yeah, Mac Jones.
You did sign Mac Jones.
We needed a backup for sure.
Mac Jones.
Dude, I don't know. He did an interview for the 49ers also.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if you saw it, but oh my god, it's just. I was just like it.
It's cringe.
It's cringe where it's like fucking Matt Jones. Like, are you fruity? Like, are you like?
I listen. Don't forget his walk.
Yeah, exactly.
On draft day.
Yeah.
Don't ever forget his walk on draft day, bro. That was a little sus.
And it's cool if he is. I don't give a fuck.
Right. There's no hate here. There's no
exactly.
But just come out with.
But in that interview he did,
it's probably easier said than done, but still.
Yeah. In that interview he did, you're just like, what the hell? This fool's like.
I gotta look for that interview.
He's like, I'm just like, okay, all right, cool. Like, play football, whatever. But yeah, it's Mac Jones. I wasn't excited. I was like, Mac Jones. I know who Mac Jones is. We've seen who Mac Jones is. Like, it's cool. Whatever. Hopefully he doesn't play. I pray to God because that means Brock Purdy's injured. Like, just please, just stay on the bench.
Right. Yeah. At least Brock Purdy better be injured because if he gets beat out by Mac Jones.
Oh yeah, dude. No, I don't think so. But no, it's Mac Jones. All right, cool.
That'll be a problem. So now staying on the topic of quarterbacks, Mac Jones being one of them. We've already discussed that. There was a lot of big time movement with quarterbacks. So we've already talked about Matthew Stafford. We've already talked about Josh Allen. We've talked about, Brock Purdy. Nothing's happened with Brock Purdy. We talked about Mac Jones. Dak Prescott, I think, got a bit of a signing bonus. So obviously they still want him there. Deshaun Watson restructured his contract a little bit there.
And who is their backup for Watson?
It's now going to be Pickett.
Oh, Pickett. There you go. Yeah, Pickett.
Yep. So that leads us to the next one, right? Kenny Pickett got traded from the Eagles over to the Browns, and it looks like he's probably slated to be the starter now for the Cleveland Browns. And then you've got Geno Smith got traded to the Las Vegas Raiders from Seattle. I don't know that that's going to do the team any good. I like Geno, but again, Geno's Geno.
Yeah.
I called it last year. Geno's gonna Geno, which he did. So I'm not sure what the Raiders see in that, but they're hey, we want Geno. Okay. So Geno's now over there. Sam Darnold, you mentioned earlier. Sam Darnold is now in Seattle. He's getting reunited with. Who's he getting reunited with? Who's the coach in Seattle?
McDowell. He used to be the Ravens defensive order. He has a defensive minded coach.
Got it.
I'm not sure who the offensive coordinator is over there, but
however, Cooper Kupp is now also in Seattle.
Yes, exactly. I don't know why he went up there, but I was like, all right, cool.
I was like, do you think Darnold's gonna get you the ball?
We'll see.
I was like, I don't know where. Yeah, I was like, I don't know.
That's why I was like, is Cooper Kupp from the Seattle area? I think he is.
I don't know.
Let me check. But yeah, that I mean, that's a good signing for the Seahawks. But again, it's like, it's Sam Darnold, dude. Come on.
Yeah.
Everybody knows where Oh yeah, he's born in Washington, Ukiah, Washington.
Yeah.
Cooper Kupp. Yep. So yeah, I think he went to Seattle to be closer to home. So
now I will say, I meant to say, Sam Darnold was getting reunited. My apologies. Sam Darnold is not getting reunited. Geno Smith is getting reunited with Pete Carroll.
Yes, with the Raiders.
Yes. So Pete Carroll is the head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders, which I like Pete Carroll, but at some point the game gets past these coaches.
Yeah.
And I think the game is past Pete Carroll, but we'll see. We'll see. But
I
I
think
don't know that that's a good combination.
I think for the Raiders, it's a good pickup to get Pete Carroll because they need that sense of direction. It's the Raiders. They fucking been going fucking somewhere for a long ass time. Now I think Tom Brady's a minority owner, and I think he actually went and chose Pete Carroll just so they
Right.
could have direction. And I'm pretty sure they know Pete Carroll's not going to be here 2-3 years. Maybe this year, maybe next year, and
He's a
then
bridge head coach.
exactly, because Pete Carroll, I think he's like 78,
77.
77. So I was like, all right, cool. Like, just bridge him to the next coach until we find the next guy, which is smart. And of course, it's Geno Smith. Like, Geno Smith. Just, I think the Raiders just need stability, and that's why they went with Pete Carroll and Geno for right now. And we'll see what happens in 2-3 years. Which is, like I said, it's a good sense of direction that they have, but
Yeah.
it's we know it's Pete Carroll. I mean, it's passed them by. But for the Raiders,
Yeah.
it's good because they need that stability because they haven't had that shit with that owner. Mm-mm.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the Raiders need to go get a quarterback in the draft. Because you have Brock Bowers. You don't want to waste Brock Bowers' time, his career. And it's like knowing that Geno is not the long-term solution, just like Pete Carroll is not the long-term solution, then what are you doing? That's my question. Then
Yeah.
it's what are you doing? Because you have a hell of a talent in Brock Bowers. Who
Yeah.
are you going to have him throwing who's going to throw him the ball? Like, is it going to be Geno for 2 years? Like, okay, and then, like, if you want to bridge a quarterback, you don't want to, like, are you assuming you're going to try to get your quarterback in 2026?
That's what I heard.
Are you going to fight for an Archie Manning?
Probably.
Like, are you going to tank? Are you going to tank so you can get Archie Manning?
That's what I heard.
Mean, there's other teams that are talking about tanking
to get Archie.
Archie Manning. So I mean, like, that to me is what I'm kind of curious about. Where do the Raiders choose?
They choose. I'm right here. Let me see. 1, 2, 3,
6.
4, 5, 6. Yep, 6.
They choose 6.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, but they need a miracle because I know Tennessee. I think they need a quarterback. The Browns. I think they need a quarterback. The Giants. They'll need a quarterback. Patriots. No. Jacksonville. They might get a quarterback.
That's tough.
And then it's the Raiders.
Yeah.
I mean, if they want a quarterback this year, they're gonna have to pay up. But I think they're gonna go with just whatever they get, and then next year they'll probably trade up to get one of those good quarterbacks.
So, well, I don't want to jump around. I don't want to go to the draft yet. I was gonna say, let's talk about no, not yet. No, I don't want to bounce around.
Yeah,
Let's stay away from the draft. We'll talk about the draft as it gets closer. But all right. Then the next quarterback, Justin Fields, is no longer in Pittsburgh. He is now a New York Jet.
Jets. Sorry.
Jets. Yeah, the other non-New York team, because they're from New Jersey. No matter what people say, they are from New Jersey. Yeah, that is to me, honestly, I was so much happier when Aaron Rodgers was with the Jets. And I was like, no, like, I like Justin Fields. I didn't like him in Chicago. I thought he was garbage in terms of being there. I mean, I never liked the pickup by Chicago when they took Justin Fields.
Yeah.
I didn't think he was ready, and I sure as hell didn't think it was going to help his career to go to Chicago, because I mean, that team was brutal.
Yeah.
I think he's starting to hit his stride, and I think Pittsburgh fucked up and did him dirty. I'll stick to that. But now he's with the Jets, and low key, I'm a little bit worried.
Oh, you are? No.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the Jets have a lot of talent.
Yes.
Just couldn't put it together, and I think part of that was dumbass Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
I think he creates instability wherever he goes. At least, with the amount of talent that was there, I mean, there's no way the Jets should have underperformed the way they did.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they should have won the AFC East, but they shouldn't have underperformed the way they did. And you went and got Devontae, and you still couldn't do shit. Like,
but they still, like the Jets had a good team. They still got a good receiver, and what's his name?
Garrett Wilson.
Garrett Wilson, a good running back. They had a good defense. They had a good offensive line. But the Jets. Yeah, I don't. I mean, it's cool that they got, they're trying, but like this is the third team for Justin Fields. Like
True.
it tells you something that, all right, this team didn't work out for him. The next team, they had him and then they replaced him, and now he's with a new team. It's like that tells you something that this is Justin Fields. He's not going to carry you to that promised land. It's just he's going to win you 6 games and that's it.
Yeah, but I feel like the Jets have better talent than the Steelers. And if he did what he did with the Steelers, then I feel like he has to.
Hold on.
He just has to do less. Yeah.
Give me a minute.
Yep.
My bad. Yeah, go for it.
Oh, you're good. No, like I feel like with the Jets, he just doesn't have to lose them the game.
Yeah.
It's like you've got some nice running backs, right? You got Breece Hall and the guy that was a rookie last
Gibson?
year. No, not Gibson.
No.
They had another stud.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
The defense is just spectacular, even though they struggled a little bit last year. You've got Garrett Wilson. You've got a decent O-line. Well, I don't know if their O-line was decent because
they're all right. They were giving up.
Rodgers was getting nailed, but then again, it's Rodgers. So
it's Rodgers. Exactly.
And Justin Fields now is, so you can afford to. Now your line, which was maybe average, just by the fact that he's mobile, is now a little bit better than average.
Yeah.
So I feel like, again, there's some pieces there that I think to me are better than Pittsburgh. So it's a better option there for him. So we'll see. Again, he can fold and become the Justin Fields of Chicago. But I don't think the Jets can get any worse. So to me, it is a little worrisome. So we'll see how that goes. Now, other quarterbacks that were on the move were
just like the one I laughed at is Winston, Jameis Winston to the Giants.
Yeah.
And then I saw a meme like, oh, Giants are gonna pick what's his name, Travis Hunter, so he could tackle the cornerback when Jameis Winston throws a pick. I was like,
oh no,
that's funny. That shit got me rolling. That's a good one.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I mean, in terms of big name quarterbacks, that was pretty much it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we don't know where Aaron Rodgers is going to end up.
He supposedly had a visit with the Pittsburgh with the Steelers this past week, but nothing was signed. They're still thinking about it. Whatever's.
I don't know how that's going to go. I mean, I don't see Aaron Rodgers and Mike Tomlin meshing. I don't see it.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but I just don't see it.
Yeah, I don't see Tomlin like dealing with his bullshit. Like, what do you mean you're late? What do you mean you don't want to go into practice? Hey, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, I don't see it.
True.
Give me 1 second. Let me make sure I plug in my computer because I thought it was plugged in and I just got a notification my shit's about to die. All right, here we go.
Shit.
All right. The other guy, Daniel Jones, is now in the Colts.
Right. Colts, yep.
He is with the Colts.
Backing up. Well, they said he's might be the starter, but he's gonna compete with what is it, Anthony Richardson?
I don't see why you put Daniel Jones ahead of Anthony Richardson.
Yeah.
I mean, you let that rookie you let the rookie take his lumps. Why are you gonna bench him now?
Yeah.
And to me, that you're only gonna stunt his growth, and if you stunt his growth, then you wasted a first round pick, and now you look like a bigger idiot.
Yeah.
Josh Dobbs went to New England. That's an
Mm-hmm.
interesting one. DTR went from the Browns over to the Eagles on
On
a
a
on
trade,
the
right?
Pickett. Yeah, the
Yeah.
Pickett trade.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Zach Wilson is now a Miami Dolphin.
Okay.
And then I think that's it. I mean, like you
The
said,
other one we
James.
got, yeah, the other one that we don't know yet is Russell Wilson.
Oh, that is
Uh,
very true.
Russell Wilson has no team,
No team.
and he played all right last year with the Steelers. But it's very very weird that it's he does not have a team, and that everybody's like, oh, Aaron Rodgers, he should go with, like, dude, like, that's another thing why, like, the Steelers. I'm like, why don't you just stick with Russell Wilson? Like,
Yeah.
just, he's better to me. Honestly, he's a little bit better than Aaron Rodgers, younger, and I think he's more reliable. Like, I think teams, or I think he's a locker room player more than Aaron Rodgers.
He's just as weird and goofy as fucking Rodgers, dude.
Of course, yes, true, true. But quarterback wise,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll probably take Russell Wilson. So, but
He's,
yeah,
he's probably still a little bit more mobile than Rodgers is.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, I'm like, why isn't this fool signed? I'm like, that's crazy. I mean, it might be that he's forced to retire. Shit,
Mm-hmm.
that's crazy.
I mean, I think, like you said, though, I mean, the fact that Pittsburgh's not willing to resign him,
Yeah, it tells you something.
tells you something there too, right? I
Yeah,
mean,
it tells you
I don't know.
something.
Maybe he's asking too much money. But I'm not a big Russell Wilson fan.
Mm-hmm.
Now I was back then, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It just I think his time has passed as well. But I again, I could be wrong, but I think his time has passed.
I think part of it is like he asks too much. Like, oh, like, I need to fly my family out here, and you guys need to pay for it, and I need this for my family and the suites, and I need you guys to pay
Yeah.
for it, and I think that's part of the reason why too. Is like,
I think you think you're more valuable than you really are now.
yeah, like, yeah, bro, like, you need to tell your family to stay home and shit. Like, fuck that.
Like, you're making more demands than, like, Super Bowl winning quarterbacks like Jalen Hurts and Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, I think so.
It's like, wait, what?
I think
Hey,
so.
slow down there, buddy. Yeah. So the next question is, now we know some big time names, went to different places, right? We know, I just kind of briefly fly through them. Some of the bigger names, especially receivers, right? We know Debo, like you said, got traded to Washington.
Mm-hmm.
T. Higgins got franchised.
T. Higgins.
Well,
T. Higgins got paid.
Wait, sorry, yeah. So he got franchised, then he got paid,
Yeah.
and Jamar Chase got paid.
Mm-hmm.
Then Devontae Adams is now a Ram. DK Metcalf is now in Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
Godwin got re-signed. That was
Mm-hmm.
interesting.
That was smart.
Coming off that pretty big injury.
Mhm.
D-Hop is now in Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
And I know we kind of covered it, but Cooper Kupp is in Seattle. So
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
those are some big offensive names that went, there. A lot of defensive names, a lot of, solid players got moved around. It went to different teams. But who do you think had the best free agency, at least, up until now? Who do you think had the best free agency?
Just the top of my head, I think Washington Commanders had a good one. The top three: Washington, the Rams. Devontae Adams was a good signing, and then Denver. Denver Broncos had a good signing. But I think the top one was Debo. Debo to Washington. Washington is they're making smart decisions over there, and they're putting a team around Jaden Daniels that's going to compete for a long ass time. So good for them. Like, to show that once you change a fucking owner, like, boom, you fucking, your fucking season changes. Your what do I call it? Your fucking spirit changes, because it's like, once that owner, Dan Snyder was gone, like, fucking team went another direction, which is good and shit,
Yeah.
And then the other team, of course, that I mentioned was the Rams. Devontae Adams, it's a good pickup. Like, you say what you want about Devontae Adams. Yes, he is older, but
Yeah.
it's Devontae Adams. You still have what's his name on the other side, the other receiver. Fuck, I forget his name.
Puka.
Puka, exactly. Sorry. You got Puka on the other side, and now you get Devontae on this side with Karen Williams as your running back, and you still got Stafford. That's a good pickup. And then
Yeah.
the other team, Denver Broncos. They got Dre Greenlaw, who I think I love. I wish he would have stayed with the 49ers, but that's a good pickup. And then they got Taleno Hufanga, a defense safety. So
Yeah.
that's a good pickup. And then they still got their young quarterback and a good offense, good offensive mind. So I mean it's good for the Broncos, but I think the top one is probably the Commanders. What about you, man? What do you think is it?
So I'm going to tell you one that I think is flying under the radar of a lot of people, but the
Mm-hmm.
only reason why I know about him is because it's in our division. So
Mm.
I think the team that had the best free agency and low key is going to make a huge jump from their last season to this season. I don't know that they're necessarily going to make the playoffs, but the New England Patriots. The
Okay.
New England Patriots made a lot of signings, and they're not just like we made a bunch of signings. No, they're big impact players that aren't big time names, but they're big
Mm-hmm.
impact players. So I'll give you an example. They signed Harold Landry, outside linebacker.
Mm-hmm.
They signed Robert Spillane from
Okay.
Pittsburgh. They signed Carlton Davis, corner from Tampa Bay, who was a starter, if I'm not mistaken. Um, they signed Morgan Moses, a solid right tackle. They signed Milton Williams, the stud defensive end that came out of Philly. That was their
Mm.
big signing that everybody wanted that guy. Um, and then they got some really solid players. They went and got Mac Hollins from Buffalo, which hurt. Oh, that one hurt.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, fuck, I don't want to see Mac Hollins. They got Josh Dobbs. They got a solid backup in Josh Dobbs, I think.
Yeah.
They got some guard help with a guy named Lester Cotton. Um, they signed Marcus Epps to a 1 year deal. So they got a lot of solid talent in their you know in their free agency.
Mm-hmm.
Some that are going to be like immediate impact players. And you got to remember they're super young too. I mean
Yeah.
they still have a ton of money, and so they're primed, to kind of really turn it around. And if I'm not mistaken, they have a shitload of picks too for the draft.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Um,
They pick.
so
Yeah.
New
They
England
pick fourth.
picks, yeah, they
Fourth.
pick fourth. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like they have the option to get even more riches by
Okay.
dropping down, because it's like in reality, I mean, who would they take at that spot?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Maybe like
I
you
mean,
said, that's the defensive end. Uh, you know,
they could go Travis Hunter if he drops.
yeah,
Um. Yeah. They got a couple
yeah,
good pickups to go with.
yeah. So if I mean, they're in a really good position. So it's like if I was a New
Mm.
England fan, I'd be pretty happy where we're at. But again, I still think they're about a year away, maybe from competing seriously for the division.
Mm-hmm.
But I definitely think they can definitely take second place if all goes well. If Drake May doesn't regress. But you know
Yeah.
me, I've said it before. That sophomore slump for quarterbacks, for rookie quarterbacks going into their second year, I think that's real, and I think they'll all struggle a bit, including Bo Nix. I think
Yeah.
Bo Nix is nice, but I think he'll struggle. I think Drake May is going to struggle a little bit more because again, the
Mm-hmm.
NFL adjusts, right? They now
Yeah.
have it. They have film on the guys. They find their
Exactly.
tells and everything else. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like I think he'll struggle, but that doesn't mean that they're not set up really nice for Drake May's third year.
Okay. Okay. Yeah,
So
you're right. You're right.
I think the sleeper in terms of how good they had of a free agency, I'm going to say New England. But
Okay. Okay.
but yeah, Washington had some really good pickups.
Yeah.
I like that one as well. I think the underrated pickup for Washington is going to be the Laramie Tunsil trade.
Okay.
They
Yeah.
finally got him a franchise left tackle. I think that's going to be huge for Jaden Daniels.
Okay.
You know, he's got some protection on his blind side.
The only problem with that is that it's you don't trade a left tackle like that if you don't know something's up with him. And then the what I heard is that he wasn't good enough for the quarterback with the Texans. So that's why they traded him. They're like, yeah, you're giving up too much. So they're like, fuck it, we'll get rid of you because I mean it's a lot to like to to uh to to protect the Texans quarterback, but
Yeah,
for now to get traded to another good quarterback, it's like, dude, like why are you guys trading this good ass left tackle? They're like, well,
yeah,
it should tell you something that something's wrong with him or something's up with him. So
yeah,
that's why I was like, oh, okay, cool, you got him. We'll see how it plays out, but
yeah.
yeah.
I think I think I think you would agree that Jaden Daniels is more mobile than C.J. Stroud,
I
and
think they're
so
the same. I mean,
really,
I think so.
I think C.J. Stroud's mobile.
Hmm.
I don't know that he's as mobile as he's definitely a mobile quarterback. C.J. Stroud is
Yeah,
definitely a mobile quarterback. Uh,
yeah.
but if you put Lamar Jackson on one side, on one end of the spectrum, as to like the
Hmm.
most mobile quarterback, and then
Hmm.
you've got fucking Aaron
Aaron
Rodgers
Rodgers, yeah,
on the other end, right?
yeah.
Who falls
You think?
closer to Lamar Jackson? Jaden Daniels or C.J. Stroud?
I think Jaden Daniels because I want to say he's younger, a year younger, and that's it. But I
I think
mean,
athletically he's
yeah,
a little bit closer to Lamar.
true, true. But there's argument to that also. You'd be like, oh, this guy's skinnier by so and so pounds, like
Yeah,
that's why. But I
yeah,
mean, I think they're about the same, not much difference.
yeah,
But yeah, I mean that's what I read that Lermy Tunsil was a problem for CJ Stroud this past season. And so I was like, oh, okay. So that's why they traded him.
yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay.
I mean, he's also what 30? He's gonna be 30. No, he's 31.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't know. He's 30 something, isn't he?
31. Oh, he's gonna be 30. Yeah, he's gonna be 31, I think, this year.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. I think I think they just didn't want to sign Laramie Tunsil to what he would have been worth. I'm not saying you're right.
Mm,
Like you're right. There's concerns there and there's issues
yeah.
there. And when you
Hmm.
have those issues, it's like, well, shit. Do we want to pay him what now he's going to be getting? Because now we got to pay him a boatload more, and he's 30.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know that we want to pay him that much. And so I think out of necessity, they also traded him. And
Yeah.
I think they got like a fourth round for him, which is
Yeah, I
insane,
think
right?
so.
Given like
Hmm.
what what um what Houston gave up to get him.
Yep. They
Um,
traded a lot for him.
a lot for him, and I mean he panned out for a couple years. So I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
we'll see how that goes. But yeah, man. I mean, training camp, will be coming soon. The draft is right around the corner, dude.
Yeah. Draft is
Yeah,
like I think it's like
3 weeks away.
yeah, no. It's in the end of April, so it's like a month away, I want to say.
Oh yeah. I feel like they push it back more and more every day or every time.
Yeah.
You're right. It's April 24th.
Yeah.
Ugh,
Hmm.
it's literally a day
A
and a
month
month from
away.
now. Ugh, yeah, that sucks. And then it's like it's just round one on Thursday, and then you gotta wait, and then
Yeah.
that's gonna be tough. But yeah, that'll be a whole new conversation after we talk about the draft. That'll be fun.
Yep.
Um, any other body stand out for you, or anything else stand out for you from
Uh,
free agency? I don't remember
no,
anybody off
just
the
the
top of my
Cowboys.
head.
The Cowboys just sign in a bunch of backups and like players. You're like, who? Like,
Hmm.
okay, cool. That player?
Yeah,
Like, okay, cool.
yeah,
So yeah,
yeah,
everybody's excited about the Cowboys. They got to pay their players, their star players. Um, and that's it. Shit.
yeah. I Speaking of the Cowboys, uh Michael Gallup came out of
Yeah,
retirement to go over to Washington. So
Mm-hmm.
that's interesting. It's even interesting that they gave him a contract. I mean, he's been out of
Yep.
football for what, 2 years?
Yeah, I think so. 2 years, but injury wise, I think something like that. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's weird. I was like, okay, fucking cool.
I mean, it doesn't
Damn.
hurt to take that flyer.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt to
And
take
he's
that
not.
flyer.
I don't think he's gonna be a top receiver or the top receiver on the team. So
No.
I mean, it's. I guess it's cool to keep him, but yeah, we'll see what happens with him.
I mean, it doesn't hurt to have that kind of depth, I guess you could say. I mean, if he's
Yeah.
got to be your, Michael Gallup as your fourth, fifth receiver,
Mm-hmm.
that's decent. He'll
Yeah.
be
That's
fresh.
all right. Yeah.
he'll,
True. True.
he'll be fresh. All right, but I'd say that wraps it up for now on NFL, man.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, man, we'll just see. We'll see what happens. I'm sure. I have a feeling we're gonna have we're gonna have a news about Aaron Rodgers, this sometime soon because he has to decide or either Pittsburgh is just gonna move on. Be like, we're tired of waiting for you. So I think that's
Yeah,
the next big name to sign, and then after that is just probably Russell Wilson. But
yeah.
after those two is just get
I
ready
think
for the
that's what
NFL
Russell's
draft.
waiting on. I think Russell's
Yeah.
waiting on Aaron Rodgers.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. We'll see what goes on there. I mean, not a lot to talk about baseball. I mean, spring training is coming to a close pretty soon.
Yeah,
Um,
I know the
you know,
Dodgers were in Japan
yeah,
last or this past week,
right.
which it was cool, but it's like and the weird part is that these games in Japan count on the record, so it's
Really?
like yeah, so the Dodgers are 2-0. I was like, oh, okay, cool, but I was like, why does this shit count? But the season is in April. I was like, all right, whatever, dude. Like,
Yeah,
do your
that's
thing.
interesting.
Do your thing, baseball. You guys are fucking weird. Slow
Yeah,
ass game. It's all right. Go for it.
that is that is interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Huh.
yeah. No, and then Lakers are playing good, but I think I said it before. It's the NBA season. Just it's long. I'm sure the teams know it, and they're like, yeah, we're good. We're Lakers are in the playoffs. They're gonna make I think they're fifth or fourth right now. So they
Yeah.
just gotta. I think their thinking is just get into the playoffs, and then once we get into the playoffs, we'll figure it out. But that's when the action starts. So Lakers are good. Luka Doncic is playing out of his mind again. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's good, man. It's exciting to see the Lakers again because
Yeah.
before the trade, it was like Lakers got old ass LeBron, Anthony Davis. We'll see if we get into the the play-in playoffs. But now it's like, oh, they got Luka Doncic. It's like, oh, shoot, like these guys they're in the playoffs. They got a chance to win the championship. Like, oh shit.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
man, exciting for the Lakers right now.
All right. All right. Yeah, and then um, the
Let's go
only
with
other big
that.
thing.
Let's go with that hat you're wearing. You want to talk about it?
That's right. That's right. Wearing that hat, baby.
Yeah.
F1 is back. We just wrapped, or what is it? Second race of the season just wrapped
Hmm.
up with the Chinese Grand Prix. Prior to that was the Australian Grand Prix to open up the season. And let me tell you, man, that Australian Grand Prix was amazing. That was a hell of a race to start the year with. There was a lot going on for
Hmm.
those that haven't been keeping up. Have you had a chance to keep up with F1?
I kept up with the Australian Grand Prix. This
Yeah,
one yesterday, the China Grand Prix. No, I mean I fell asleep. It was at midnight here.
yeah.
I watched the replay, but I really didn't pay attention to it. I did wake up this morning to be like, oh, like, what is it? Ferrari, Hamilton, and two other
Hmm.
drivers were disqualified. I think two of them for being undersized, and then Hamilton being his under the car was different, right, or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, you're right. So in this last race, three drivers were disqualified.
Hmm.
Pierre Gasly and Leclerc were found to be under the weight limit. So there's a certain
Mm.
amount that they have to weigh, and I believe they
Yeah.
were under that.
Hmm.
So they were disqualified,
Of
and
course,
then
that would make your car run
lighter,
faster, correct?
right? You're lighter, so
Yeah.
in theory you're faster. And
Yeah.
then the one for Lewis Hamilton was they have this wooden plank underneath the body of the car, and it's a certain thickness. And when you finish the race, you've got to be a minimum thickness of millimeters or more. And so I think like basically, I think if I'm not, I think I heard that it's got to be 9 millimeters, and I think he came in at like 8.5 millimeters,
Okay.
which is like super thin, right? Like but like I mean, when it comes to these cars, they're so sensitive to like any little advantage that
Yeah.
and what that means is that your car is riding really, really low, and
Mm.
you're supposed to have a certain height. The higher you go, obviously, the more air gets underneath. The more air that gets underneath, the slower the car is, and so it's things like that. So it's like there was that kind of suspicion, or people will suspect like, oh, when you ride that low, you're really wearing out the plank because you want to create less drag and go faster. Um, so there's a lot of there's some controversy there, especially because they did so well. This one was a what you call a sprint weekend. So
Mhm.
basically, they only get one practice, which they did, and then they qualify for a sprint race, which is like you know a, a third of what a normal race is,
Yeah,
and
it was
and
like
then
30 laps. That's what I remember. I was like, oh, okay,
yeah,
30 laps, cool.
yeah, and then I think only the top 8 get points, and
Mhm.
and obviously it's a less amount of points, right? But I mean, Ferrari did pretty well, including
Yeah.
Lewis Hamilton uh, winning, and so people thought like,
Mhm.
wow, they're going to dominate, but it looks like they might have been aware that they were too low, and so they might have
Mm.
raced up the cars a little. And when they raced up the cars a little, maybe that caused their struggle this time around. Which I
Mm.
mean, originally I think they were like fourth and fifth, I think, when they
Yeah.
finished, and then they got disqualified. Um, but yeah, overall, like you said, it was a very boring race. If you know, if you weren't a fan of Piastri or
Yeah.
McLaren, uh, and you were a fan of everybody else. The midfield had some action, which was pretty cool. But then I'd say, like you mentioned, the most action for this race was after. Like it was more
Mm.
exciting after, right? You've got the disqualification, so that moved up a
Mhm.
bunch of people, and then because of those DQs, like you have teams that normally wouldn't score big points. So like
Yeah.
Haas, which is a midfield team, because of the DQs, like their driver Ocon came in fifth and their other
Mhm.
driver came in eighth. Like they've got more points than Ferrari right now.
Yeah.
The Ferrari came in second last year in terms of constructors, so it's a big deal. There's a lot of storylines, which is awesome, dude. Like I talk about it with my wife all the time. Like we can't wait to see like Drive to Survive next year because
Okay.
all the drama that's starting right now.
Mhm.
Have you watched? Did you get a chance to watch any Drive to
No,
Survive?
dude.
Yeah,
Nah. I gotta remind myself because I find myself like looking for something to watch. Because
uh-huh.
funny thing is, I watched the first season of Twisted Metal on
Oh shit! I
Peacock.
gotta watch that. Ah, dang! I
Yeah.
forgot all about that.
Yeah, so I watched that. I was like, oh, it's all right. It's cool. But
Yeah,
yeah,
it's a
then,
little
then
cheesy.
now that you told me about this, I was like, ah, fuck, I gotta remember like F1, F1, F1.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
So
I'd
yeah,
say
no, I haven't
watch
watched that.
that.
I haven't watched that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'd say watch that. And then, like I said, there's a lot of drama going on, which is amazing. Like it's
Yeah.
so good, dude. This first 2 weeks, like I remember, I think I told you a while back, like maybe when we first started the podcast and we talked about like F1. I basically said it's it's like motorsports, but like with a soap opera mixed in.
Yeah.
And that's essentially what it is. I mean, there's a ton
Mm.
of drama. I don't know if you've heard it, but the other reason that I'm wearing this hat is
Mm-hmm.
not only because
Mm-hmm.
it's F1, right? But it's my Mexico hat. Um, and for those that remember, I'm a huge Checo supporter,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like last year he got done dirty, and
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
obviously he's not in F1 right now. His contract was cut off by Red Bull, after a tough season last year. And I know I mentioned it lots of times. I know I said, hey, he's not doing himself any favors. I know he's kind of stuck in his head a little bit too. But I know that I mentioned it's the car. Red
Yeah.
Bull has a really shitty car, and the only reason they're competitive is because I think people take for granted just how good Max Verstappen is. It's like I think people love to be like, "Oh, Max Verstappen came in third, ha ha ha," and it's like, yeah, but the car is so shitty that like him coming in third and not winning the races like you thought, like it doesn't mean that the car is good. It just means that
Mm-hmm.
like Verstappen is that good that he's able to like mask those mistakes. It's like we talk about the elite
Mm-hmm.
quarterback. An elite quarterback will
Yeah.
mask for the lack of talent elsewhere. Well, an elite driver like Max Verstappen, and I mean he is the top dog until someone knocks him off,
Mm-hmm.
but he is a generational talent. This guy, whether you love him or hate him, he eats, sleeps, breathes, shits, Formula One. Like that's
Yeah.
all he does is drive. And so he makes up for it. And I think it's starting to come to light that the car is pretty awful for
Yeah.
Red Bull. And it's essentially geared towards Verstappen. He's the only one that can really drive this car. But I'm so happy that for me it feels like vindication. Like I'm glad
Mm-hmm.
that Checo is out, and living his life and doing whatever now. He doesn't have the pressure of it. But it's funny because I know I mentioned it. I was like, watch, next year they're gonna be like, oh, it's the car. And sure enough, the guy they replaced him with, Liam Lawson, he is just
Mm-hmm.
sucking balls. I mean,
Yeah.
it is the worst that a Red Bull driver, the second Red Bull driver, has ever done.
He came
Right?
in last in Australia, correct? Am I?
No, he qualified last.
Oh, okay. Qualified.
But
Okay.
but but he basically didn't even finish the race last in Australia.
Oh,
He
okay.
crashed.
Okay.
And then
Oh,
the
okay. He
Chinese Grand
crashed.
Prix,
Okay.
he qualified 20th. Like that's how bad he was. He qualified
Mm.
20th. And then he ended. I think he ended this time around. He ended like 13th or whatever. Keep in mind,
Okay. Okay.
he only ended up 13th because 3 drivers got disqualified. So he would have been 16th. And then
Damn.
and if you want to add another layer to that, a driver ahead of him, another rookie, James Doohan, would have been ahead of him, but he had a 10-second penalty. So
Oh, okay.
essentially,
Okay.
Lawson, in theory, would have been 17th. So
Oh.
he's just god awful, right? But now it's the car. Oh well, maybe it's the
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
car. Red Bull's car sucks. I mean, not even Verstappen can. Okay, so which is it? Because the car's the same. They didn't change anything from 24 to now.
Yeah.
Because there's no point in every team will tell you there was no point in pouring a ton of money into developing this car from last year's car for all the teams.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the ones that sucked balls last year, they're still trying to figure out like Haas and Alpine and Williams and all those guys, right?
Yeah.
In midfield. So they're still battling. But in terms of the big four, there's no point in really pouring a ton of money in it because there's huge changes that they're going to need to make to meet requirements in 2026.
Okay.
So
Okay.
essentially, this model car is the same as the model last year
Mm-hmm.
with some alleged improvements. But if you've made alleged improvements and now it's the car, so what was it last year?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
was it really the driver, or was Checo just a scapegoat? Again, I'm not saying Checo didn't do himself. He didn't do himself any favors.
Mm-hmm.
He was in a bad slump. But when it's a car that's that bad that he tried telling you even as far back as 2023, and even Verstappen last year came out and said, "Man, this car is rough."
Mm-hmm.
Like now we're giving a little white boy, oh, it's the car.
Mm.
Like
Yeah.
no. Like you suck.
Yeah.
You weren't even humble about it. You weren't humble about it. And honestly, I'm glad that this is happening. I have I don't feel bad for Red Bull at all. That
Yeah.
if they cost Max Verstappen his championship, his fifth championship, that's on them. Um, there is a big rumor right now going on
Hmm.
that they could replace Liam Lawson with
Yeah,
the
that's what I heard. That's what I
right
heard. Was
with
Sonoda, no?
Sonoda. Yep, the
Yeah.
rookie. Which there's a lot of factors there, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's one thing for him not to perform as well as Verstappen, but it's another thing for you to perform on the back end of the grid versus, no one's saying you need to come in like a second behind Verstappen, but I
Yeah.
don't think they expected you to finish 20th,
Yeah.
or 18th or whatever.
Oh yeah.
And so, is it going to get better? And so I think part of that is they're looking into it, right? But then for me, Yuki should have been given the seat. If they were going to take Checo out of it, it should have been
Hmm.
Yuki. I
Okay.
Yuki's been with their sister team forever and a day. Um, and I feel like, man, he's the one that should have got it. They gave him a raw deal. They gave it to Lawson. That's fucked up. And now you're going into in 2 weeks, which because now they're not racing next week, but the weekend after that, they're in Japan.
Hmm.
That's Yuki's, you know, home. It's his home race. He's
Hmm.
from Japan. Like all the, I guess you could say all the parameters are there, or all the reasons for you to say, you know what, we're throwing Yuki in the Red Bull for the Suzuka race, which is in Japan. Like, dude, how lit would Japan, would it be for the Japan Grand Prix? Like,
Yeah.
it would just, people would feel so happy for him. And then hopefully he would, you know, I mean, the bar is really low now. you,
Hmm.
you can't get worse than Liam. So
Yeah.
you just got to not fuck it up,
Hmm.
and so there's a lot of, you know, little, I guess you could say, intricacies or conspiracies, anywhere from like racism to
That's what
politics
I
to
heard.
whatever.
Yeah. I heard more
Um,
about racism, the
yeah.
weird part. I'm like, in racing? I'm like, damn, that's just weird.
Well, you got
Racism?
to remember,
But
it's
yeah,
it's European.
exactly. We're European, more Arab. Like
Yeah.
that's what
Yeah.
I read, and I'm like, oh yeah, like these fools
Yeah.
are these. What I read is like these fools are being like racist to Checo, like just
Right.
because he's a
Right.
Mexican. It's like
Yeah.
they talk shit about him. They made negative articles about him,
Hmm.
and now that Lawson is sucking balls, like they're like, oh
They're making
no, it's
excuses for him.
exactly making excuses for him. And they're like, it's because he's a white guy. Like they're making an
Yeah.
excuse for him because he's a white
Uh-huh.
guy, and they're like, it's not fair. Like you guys should treat this same driver with the
Hmm.
same shit you guys did with Checo. And
Yeah.
so I was like, damn, that's weird, and that's fair. Fucking, it's fair. It's a fair argument.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's so it's funny how the driver you replace Checo with sucks even more, is
Hmm.
doing way worse than the driver you already had. So it's like
Yeah.
it tells you like somebody's not making the right decision over there.
Hmm.
Like
Hmm.
something is up, something needs to change, and until that doesn't change, like this team is gonna go down. And like you said,
Hmm.
Verstappen is keeping them up because Verstappen is different, but
Right.
I think he could just hold up for so long where he's gonna
Right.
be like, nah, dude, I'm out.
Yeah. Yeah. And so there's like, there's just, like I said, it's the drama is just so good, dude. It's just like,
Yeah,
it's just so good. So I mean, I think they should put, you know, Yuki in there, but we'll see.
yeah. What's it? So is it Yuki Tsunoda
Yeah,
or
Yuki Tsunoda.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
And
I mean that's because I read a report today on ESPN that they didn't deny that they're thinking about it.
right,
So I think they're
which is
thinking
what
about
led
it.
to the rumors. They
Yeah,
didn't
I think
deny
they're
it.
thinking exactly. They're thinking about it, and I think they will make the change. It's only obvious that you should make the change because this Lawson dude just sucks. He's coming in the backfield like, nah, dude, like he's not.
Yeah.
And then you had Checo coming in, like you said, it wasn't first or wasn't top second third, but he was coming in like 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, but he's not coming in 20th like Lawson. So
Yeah.
it's like, what are you guys doing? It's just
Right.
not good.
And that's the thing too. It's like all the other rookies, they're performing.
Yeah, Antonelli. I was like, what the
Antonelli's
hell?
performing. Even Bortello. I mean, his car sucks and Sauber
Mm-hmm.
sucks, right? But he's like, there's not that expectation. But like Behrman for Haas, I mean, dude, he
Mm-hmm.
came in 8th.
Yeah.
And if you want to say, oh, because of the disqualifications, okay, take 3 spots back. He came in 11th. It's like, okay, what's your excuse there, right?
Yeah.
So the rookies are performing. Hajar, the
Mm-hmm.
other V carb, the other sister or
Yeah,
brother
Racing
sister,
Bulls. Yeah.
Racing Bulls, like he's doing great. Like they were doing great this race. If it wasn't for a bad pitch strategy that they had,
Mm-hmm.
Tsunoda and Hajar would have finished way higher. In fact, they were in the top 10 the whole race up until they decided to do a double pit instead of stopping once. They decided to stop twice, and most of the contenders were like, no, we're just gonna stop once, and it worked out for them. And so it was just bad strategy on their part. And then Yuki's front wing just obliterated randomly in the air, like it was crazy. So again, even then with the bad strategy, Hajar still finished ahead of Lawson.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that tells you, a lot. Like the rookies are performing better than you in lesser cars.
Yeah.
Maybe not Antonelli. Antonelli drives a Mercedes, but Behrman, he drives a Haas. Hajar is driving a Racing Bull. Like, and that's not a good thing for them to be, doing better than you. So yeah, I don't know if they're gonna give him a chance. I think Red Bull put themselves in a really bad situation.
Yeah.
But again, that's their pedal. They fucked up. Like that was just stupid. They're getting what they deserve.
Yeah.
And that kind of sucks for Max because obviously Max doesn't make the decision. But I mean, someone's gonna have to pay the price, dude. And I hope some heads roll in Red Bull for that dumbass decision. And if they don't put Tsunoda in, I hope they get even more horrible shit. Like, dude, if they don't put Tsunoda in for whatchamacallit,
for
Lawson, then and Lawson stinks it up in Suzuka. Oh, because here's the thing: the apologist for Lawson will say, "Oh, it's the car. Oh, well, he never raced in Australia, and he's never raced at the track in China, so he doesn't know the track." And to me, that's a cop out because Liam Lawson was the reserve driver in Racing Bulls, and when you're the reserve driver, you're basically doing the virtual racing. You're the driver who gets on the simulator and they enter all these little modifications to see how the car responds in theory, so that when you apply it in real life, it's not too much more different. So you're doing a ton of simulation at a ton of different tracks. So don't give me that, oh, he didn't know the track. The guy who raced last year, who's also being considered, by the way, now is Colapinto. He was the reserve driver last year for Williams. When they kicked out, he was the one doing all the testing, putting in all the hours on the simulator. When they kicked out Logan Sargent and they plugged him in, a rookie that had never been on any of the tracks, he performed decent. It wasn't until the end that he fell off and started crashing here and there. But he never been to those tracks. And he was performing as best as he could in a really shitty car. So why is it an excuse for Lawson to be like, oh, he's never been to those tracks?
Yeah.
Okay, but you were a reserve driver, so you were a simulator. And if that was gonna be, if that's the bar, oh, he's never been there, then why bring him on ahead of Yuki?
Mm-hmm.
Because see, here's the thing: Lawson wasn't brought up through a traditional kind of ranking or progression,
Okay.
right? He, some drivers will be like they're in F3 or F3000, then F2, and then they get plucked, and then like, okay, cool,
Okay.
you're next in line. Sometimes, not all the time, but Helmut Marko tabbed Liam Lawson from like the F1 juniors, like they're super young, and it's kind of the Verstappen way. They took Verstappen. Verstappen didn't do. I don't think he did F3 and F2. They literally just brought him up
Okay.
because they felt he was that good.
Yeah.
Well, Helmut Marko was like, oh no, Liam Lawson's the next Verstappen. So they
Okay.
bypassed all that. So it's like, if he's the next Verstappen, like, were we making excuses for Verstappen back then? Like, oh, he didn't know the track. I don't think we were making excuses for they were making excuses for Verstappen back then. So I just feel like vindication for my boy Checo.
Yeah.
I love it. There was an interview. I don't know if you saw the interview, but they totally caught off Horner off guard. Basically, like,
No, I didn't see it.
They basically told him like, Lawson's sucking. It's gonna hurt your constructors. Is this what you paid Checo off for? Like, what was the point? Like, you were supposed to get someone faster than Checo.
Yeah.
And it's even worse. Like, what do you have to say? And he had no rebuttal, dude. He was like, they caught him off guard. He was just like, like I said, we're just gonna look at the data, and go from there. It's like, yeah, fucker. Like, yeah. So for me, I'm like, I know Checo's got to be like, yeah, this feels good. Like, vindicated like a motherfucker.
How old is Checo, by the way?
I think he's like 32, 33.
Oh, okay. He's in his 30s, yeah.
Yeah, so he's up there in terms of driver's age. I mean, but he wouldn't even be the oldest. The oldest is like Fernando Alonso, who's like 43.
Oh, okay. So he can still drive.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of like rookie, in terms of drivers, yes, they're on their tail end of their careers. I mean, Alonso somehow has managed, and he's just a freak. And I think the fact that he's been a world champion helps, let him stay a little bit longer. But 30, in the 30s, mid 30s, they're gonna say you're gonna start to fall off.
Okay.
The rumor is, which I would love it to be true, is that Checo might find his way back in 2026 when Cadillac and Mario Andretti put together a team.
Okay.
So they've said they want drivers with experience. They don't want rookie drivers. So, the natural progression there is like, well, shit, Checo's available.
Yeah.
He's won races before. And it from a business standpoint, he's going to bring you a ton of money because he has a ton of sponsors and a ton of fans. And then the other rumor, which I don't know how possible that is, because I think he's signed with McLaren as like a reserve driver, but Pato O'Ward. So they're like, man, if you put both Mexicans on that Cadillac team, like, the amount of support you would have would be ridiculous.
Okay.
Even though Pato O'Ward is more of an IndyCar driver, but they were trying to see if they can bring him along into F1.
Okay.
So, I mean, we'll see.
We'll
see what that'll. I'm looking forward to 2026 and seeing if Checo makes his way back onto the track.
Now, continuing with F1, I wanted to ask you about your driver that you told me to follow, Carlos Sainz.
He is struggling.
He's struggling. I know. I was like, I remember, like, I think I told you on the phone, like, oh, okay, first race in Australia, Carlos Sainz, cool. He's driving in the rain. Oh, I guess a yellow flag. He's going around slow, and boom, spins out, crashes out of it. I was like, oh. this is a driver I'm rooting for. I was like, oh man, like, because and then I asked you before the race, I'm like, all right, who am I going to follow? I need a driver to follow. You told me Carlos Sainz, and I was like, all right, cool. I'm gonna follow Carlos Sainz just like you, so I can keep up with him. He spins out the first race, and then this last race, I think he came in 11th or 12th or something like that.
No,
so
10th.
Okay.
Well, he technically came lower, right? But he would have finished 12th. But because Hamilton and Leclerc got DQ'd, he went up to 10th. So he got his point. Okay. He got a point, which is, good for the drivers, right? At least to get 1 point, because obviously 10 get points, 10 don't. So he finally got a point. I think it's a matter of him getting used to the car.
Okay.
So like with him, he's a talented driver. He's won multiple races. All right. So what he did in Ferrari was not a fluke. He won multiple races. And the fact that the other driver for Williams is performing really well. Like Albon finished 7th in this race. He would have probably finished a little lower had Ferrari kept the places, but he also finished 5th in the Grand Prix, the Australian Grand Prix.
Yeah.
So Albon's got a 5th and a 7th, where Williams would have never been sniffing around last year. Williams was not sniffing the top 10.
Yeah. Okay.
So they've made some massive improvements in their car. So the fact that it's still taking Carlos Sainz a little bit to get used to the car, like, that makes sense. Like, to say he's got to get used to the car, that makes sense. For Liam, not so much. For Sainz, yes, because he's a proven winner. And the fact that the other driver is now able to get more out of that car tells you something. Whereas this car was a 17th, 18th kind of car, it's now in the top 10. That's huge. That's freaking awesome, dude. And just the standings itself, dude. I mean, obviously it's a little different because of the DQs. But like, in terms of constructors, like, dude, Williams is tied with Ferrari.
Yeah.
For 4th, and then drivers, I mean, Albon is ahead of Hamilton and Leclerc. Albon, the other Williams driver.
Yeah, 6th now.
Yeah, he's 6th. So I mean, that, dude, they would have been at the bottom last year.
Okay.
So I mean, the Williams car, I think, is coming along.
Yeah.
Which is what I also was kind of rooting for. I'm like, I'd like to see Williams do better. So even though Carlos Sainz is struggling a bit, and I'm not a huge Albon fan, I do like to see Albon, who's part of Williams, improve a little bit. So I'm like, that's cool. Like, let's go. Like, so I'm enjoying the midfield. Like, I'm enjoying Haas doing better too.
Okay.
So this was kind of one of those races where, like, the top 3 didn't really matter. But the midfield was like, oh shit, these guys are in spots that they normally wouldn't be. Like, that's pretty cool. So yeah, I would say Suzuka will be an interesting one. You got 2 weeks to catch up on some Drive to Survive, and then you'll see like how bad Williams and Haas were last year. To appreciate, like, oh shit, like, I know it's only 2 races in, but you're like, damn, just off the bat, they're already showing a difference.
Yeah. Okay.
So, yeah, I would say I'm still gonna support Carlos Sainz in hopes that it gets better for him. It's not gonna be on the level that it was for Checo. I'm not gonna buy any Carlos Sainz gear. That's just kind of who I'm gonna root for. But it's kind of nice that, like, even if Carlos Sainz is out, I'm not heavily invested where I'm like, oh man, my day is ruined. Man.
Yeah, okay.
Like, I'm enjoying the rest of the race,
and I think I'm really good at that point. I think I'm enjoying it more knowing that I know I think the obvious choice to root for is Max Verstappen because he is, like you said, he is elite. He is one of the best. But it's like, nah, I don't want to root for Max. That's too
Right.
easy.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like a part of me is being drawn to. It is being drawn to. What's his name? The other driver, Lando Norris,
Yeah.
which is cool. And then his other driver, Piastri.
Yeah.
The only one that's catching my attention is, of course, Antonelli, the rookie for Mercedes.
Yeah.
Which I was like, okay. I mean, I like rookies coming up. He is driving good.
Yeah.
I've never heard of him, so I was like, okay, something to look forward to. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I like that whole little battle is going on between Norris, Verstappen, Russell, and Piastri. So,
Yeah.
it's keeping me entertained. So I was like, okay,
yeah.
cool.
Oh yeah, and my sister-in-law Carla, she's loving it. She's a huge
Yeah.
Piastri fan.
Oh,
She
okay.
She was all about the race today. She was ecstatic about the race.
Gotcha.
She's also a Hamilton fan, so she's kind of like
Oh,
excited
okay.
whenever they do well, right? Because Hamilton won the sprint race, and then I think
Yeah.
Piastri came in second, I think. So she was kind of excited.
Yep.
So she's enjoying F1 right now, since her driver
Okay.
is doing well. I would probably support Piastri more than Lando.
Yeah.
But I mean, it is interesting where Lando tends to like, he's that one that can, if he puts it together, he can be as fast as Max, if not faster. I just think, I think the mental fortitude is not there, and that's what he's knocked for.
Okay.
Like even if you watch like Drive to Survive, they kind of allude to that, right? Like where they say like, to be a champion, you've got to be cutthroat. You got to have a certain mentality, right? You got to take no prisoners. You can't be nice. And he's like, no, I want to win a championship my way, like my person way. And it's like, okay, but it's, Max Verstappen is probably like, he gets in the car and he doesn't think about anything else. Whereas Lando Norris, like, you'll see him make a silly mistake on the track, and you're like, dude, what? Like, get your head in the game. Like, you're in the lead. Don't make these silly mistakes.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And so it's one of those where it's like, yeah, when he pieces it together, he can be as fast, if not faster, than Verstappen. But there's a difference why Verstappen's a champion, 4-time champion. Lando Norris finally barely came close last year, and albeit their car finally came around. But even when the car was last year, like, he still had mental mistakes.
Okay.
And so I think, and he said it himself, dude, like at one point in one of the races, he's asking, like last year, he's asking, where's Max? Where's Max?
Okay.
I think it was the Brazil race where it was like Max qualified 17th. So when the race started, Verstappen was 17th, and Lando, I think, was first. I'm not sure. And throughout the race, he kept asking, where's Max? And they're like, dude, stop worrying about Max. And he's like, no, tell me where Max is. Well, Max drove the race of his life and won that race.
Okay.
Eventually passing up Lando
to
get first. And like, do you really think Max sits there and is like, where's Lando? Where's Lando? Like, nah, Max doesn't give a shit. But that's why they're wired different. And I think I think that'll continue to be his crutch until he takes the championship away from Max.
Gotcha. All right.
So that'll be interesting. But yeah, dude, it's kind of nice. You're right to be able to see someone else.
Yeah, like, I think the good thing is, like, Max is not dominating, and it's interesting that the whole Red Bull team is they're showing their flaws, and that's leads to more news, more competitiveness from the other team. So I mean, it's good, it's entertaining.
Yeah. So it's been good, dude. It's been good. I think once you appreciate and understand the sport, you appreciate it more. Like you're like, oh shit, you understand the intricacies of it.
Yeah.
So yeah,
gotcha.
I encourage you to use these next 2 weeks to at least catch up on some Drive to Survive, or even like pick up on a podcast or something from F1.
Okay, I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna try to pick up that podcast one.
Yeah.
When I'm driving home from work, I got time.
Dude. Yeah, I was listening to those all day today while I was doing yard work. I was like, oh, let's see
Oh,
what
okay,
they have
okay.
to say. So I was like, all right, cool. But yeah, man, F1 is
All
back.
right.
F1 is back, baby. So
Yes,
we got
sir.
football content. We'll have F1 content. Um, baseball
Y-
season will be back.
Yeah, and I'm sure once NBA playoffs start, I'll talk more about NBA playoffs, especially the Lakers, of course.
Yes.
Yeah, man, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. So we're going on 2 hours. I don't know.
Yes,
I
sir.
wasn't able to get any packs, but I don't know. Do you want to open a pack? See if you can get
Oh,
lucky with one pack.
let me see.
Let's see if you get lucky with one pack.
Yeah, we'll just do one. It's already 11.
Yeah, it's 11 o'clock my time too. We're on the same time now.
I know. It's just crazy, huh?
Yeah, seriously. Arizona's just weird that way. We don't do daylight savings, so we're either on time with with my sister who's in El Paso during part of the year, and then if not during part of the year, we're with LA.
All right, one pack. I'm going to open
All
with
right,
one pack. Let me see what
one
I
pack.
get.
Go drum roll.
Oh, shit. I got $1 million card. Ah.
Yeah, retire, bitch.
Oh, shit. All right, first card.
What pack was this, or what
Oh,
brand?
sorry. This is Mosaic.
Oh, okay. These are the
Panini
ones you got last
Mosaic.
time, no?
Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
All right, so it looks like the first one is a Tariq Hill.
Okay. A little insert.
Looks
Okay.
good. Yeah, with the stars. That's cool. Jerry Judy.
Oh, JJ.
Okay. Oh, I got a Puka.
Puka. Oh, all right, Puka.
Puka. I got a Troy Fatanu.
Okay. Rookie, right?
Yeah, I think so. Oh, and I got a Jalen Hurts money. It's another insert.
Oh, look at that.
Okay.
Super Bowl champ, Super Bowl MVP.
Yeah. Oh,
Jalen
and then the
Hurts.
last card is Brendan Ayuk Elevate,
Oh, all
which
right.
is all right. I like
All
this
right.
pack. I like
Okay.
the whole models of the card. So
Yeah.
yeah,
The graphics are pretty dope on the mosaics.
yeah. Okay,
Okay.
so I'm excited. But now, yeah, I'll open some more packs next time, man.
Yeah.
So we can get on out of here.
And we haven't forgot. So those of you holding us to it, we haven't forgot about trying to do the PSA.
Oh yes, dude.
Yeah. Listen, I'm gonna tell you right now. I I hate I hate when people say I want to be a YouTuber or whatever. Like, you know, and I give my wife shit when she's like, "Ah, you're a YouTuber." I'm like, I'm not a YouTuber. But what I do want to say is, fuck, dude, I will give credit to the people that do this shit for a living, that put out content
Yeah,
like religiously. In fact, they put out content like either every day or multiple times a week. Like, holy hell, dude. Kudos to those people that can and have the time and the willpower to put out so much content, because it's really hard, and I don't know how they find the
yeah,
time. I mean, obviously
yeah.
everyone's personal lives are different, right? And your
Exactly.
time is split differently. I'm a dad, you're a dad, we both go to work, we're both married,
Mm-hmm.
and we've got a bunch of other things going on that really limit our time. But even if I cut some of the shit in half, like, I still don't think I'd have the time and energy to pump out, content like some of these people do for a living. And I get it;
Yeah.
they get paid for it, right? So,
Mm.
so that's more of an incentive. But I don't know that, like, you could pay me enough to be able to be like, I got to put out content for today,
But
and then 2 days later,
before, yeah, before they got paid, they were doing like exactly like you said, like finding that sacrifice. Like fuck it, I got to make a video at 1 in the morning. Like
mm-hmm,
fuck it, at least an hour video of just
right?
talking about F1, NFL, whatever.
Yeah, like
So yeah,
that's
shout out to them. Yes.
yeah,
Yep.
that's kudos to them, man.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That
Oh,
shit's hard.
it is hard, dude. It's hard. And then, like I said, like, we're over here recording. It's 11 o'clock at night. My dumb ass has to shower. I got to get up at like 5:30 in the morning. So it's
Yep.
like it's rough.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how people do this on a multiple time basis.
Bro.
The other thing is, before we jump back on for the next episode, have you watched Severance?
No.
Oh,
I haven't.
dude. All right. Season 2 is done. You've got 2
Oh,
seasons to
okay.
binge watch. Like, I need you to binge watch because we can literally cover one whole fucking episode on the craziness that is Severance.
Okay,
And
Severance. Okay.
and I guarantee you my wife would lose her shit if you and I talk about Severance. Like, she will be all up about
Okay.
this episode. But dude,
I know.
you've got to watch Severance. It's
I
such
know.
a
I
mind
watched
fuck.
another one. What's the uh Sterling?
Because now I need a new. I need something new to watch. Because now that Severance is done, I'm like, oh
Yeah,
fuck.
I got the one that you should watch, which is Paradise.
Okay, I've heard of
It's on
Paradise.
it's on Apple TV. I don't know if you got Apple or if you
I
could
do.
fucking
Yeah.
watch that.
That's where Severance is on Apple.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So I'll watch that Severance because I
So
watched
I'll watch
Paradise.
Paradise. I'll watch Paradise.
Yeah.
You got to watch Severance.
I'll try to watch Severance, but I'll try. I'll gotta find because I gotta watch the F1.
I don't need you to finish
Mm-hmm.
2 seasons or 2 seasons worth, but at least 1 or 2 episodes by the time we record again.
All right.
So that you can be like, oh shit, like okay, and if you got some questions that would make it more appetizing for you to keep watching, not so much like give shit away, but more appetizing so you understand it.
Okay.
Then we can talk about that, and we can do that. But yeah, I would say Severance and Drive to Survive are the ones you need to focus on.
Got you. All right, I'm gonna try it.
And I'll watch Paradise.
But Paradise is good. I watched it. I was like, okay, interesting, good stories, and good. Can't wait for the second season. So that's where I'm at.
Okay. All right. So I will watch Paradise because my wife and I are like, damn, what do we watch now?
Yeah.
And then, by the way, Ted Lasso's coming back. I don't know if you ever watched Ted Lasso.
No, I haven't. I'm not into that. I mean,
dude.
What is it on? Is it on
Apple TV?
Netflix. Oh, is it Apple?
It's Apple.
Or is it Netflix? Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure.
No, I gotta watch it then, because I'm not into that Ted Lasso crap.
Yeah. So
I've heard a lot about it, but I'm like, yeah.
You got some time with Ted Lasso. Ted Lasso is more like cheesy, feel good. Like,
is it the soccer team? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's more cheesy, feel good kind of storylines, but like you end up really enjoying the character that Ted Lasso is. Like, you end up really rooting for him, even though if you go into it knowing it's cheesy, feel good, and this is just an overall really good feeling show. Cool.
Okay.
But I would prioritize right now. I'd probably go Severance or DTS and Severance, and then if you've got time somewhere along the lines, Ted Lasso, because obviously season 4 is a long way away. Because they barely confirmed that they're gonna do it, so it's still a long way away.
Gotcha. All right. I'm gonna try to keep it up, and I'll update you next time we jump on this thing.
Yeah, man. They're gonna the viewers are gonna want to know. So
hey.
So with that said, C's, we are just a little over 2 hours on this episode. I know we talk about trying to keep it short, but man, it's so hard to keep it under 2 hours. Man. It's so hard. But I don't mind it, man. It flies by. At least for me, I really do enjoy doing it because it does fly by. But it's time to get out of here. It's time to wrap up episode 31 of HCP, Homie Connect Podcast. Cease. Say bye to the people, man. Close us out.
Oh man, thank you guys. Thank you guys for joining us. Just like I said, hit that like button, comment, and if you want to sponsor us, send that money. Yeah, man. Just thank you guys. Thank you, man. God bless you. I'll catch you on the other side, man. And man, I love this. I love talking about sports with you. I had to get that 49ers. Had to get that 49ers thing off my chest because it was brutal. Losing all those players and man, I want to say something. But yeah, man, thank you guys.
Yep. Likewise, same like you said, man. I was dying to get that shit out and be like, fuck you, Liam Lawson, fuck you, Red Bull. I was waiting to get that shit off my chest, like you said. So I'm glad we got to do it. Again, everyone, thank you guys for watching and sticking around for hopefully the whole 2 hours for episode 31. I still can't believe we're 31 episodes in. So if you're still rocking with us, thank you so much. Like C said, hit like, hit subscribe, comment something so we know people are actually watching.
Yep.
And if you're not watching, well then fuck you. If you are watching, thank you. But again, I'm looking forward to doing it again next time with my boy C's. And until next time, HCP episode 31 is a wrap. Go Bills.
Thank you guys. Yes, sir.